I want to welcome Darrell Knoch to the program. Darrell, again, I met you at the National Publicity Summit. I appreciate you calling tonight.
Well, thank you for having me on.
All right, and Darrell, your topic, I thought, let's just go with tonight about your book, Mastering a Healthy Self-Image. Explain what you mean about that.
Well, there's just too many of us over the course of the years that just don't have self-confidence that makes them be excited about life, to be excited about, yes, I can do whatever it is that I've decided I want to do. Self-confidence, self-esteem, self-image means that you have the ability to take action no matter what obstacles come up. You believe in yourself so much that no matter what the economy is, no matter what happened, last week, last year, that brought you down, or, unfortunately, I am not proud of this fact, but I have to admit that over the course of my life, I'm 57 today, I have filed for bankruptcy 3 times in my life, trying to make businesses happen, sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you make mistakes that are, so to speak, a death sentence. But, for me, self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-image means that you know how to get yourself back up because you know where you're going, and you brush yourself off, and you keep going down that road till you get what you're looking for.
So important, I think, to have that confidence, especially when you do things in your life that you need to have that to be able to be successful. When you don't feel great about yourself, if you don't feel like you are anything, you're not going to accomplish things, Darrell, are you?
Absolutely not. I've had the good fortune of interviewing a number of people over the course of years, and I've had people tell me, I just don't have the education to be able to, I'd really like to do this, but, I didn't get a bachelor's degree. I'd really like to be able to do that, but, I don't have enough money to start something. And, I like to say that, when I was 24 years old, I had the good fortune of designing a product that I literally pulled out of my head one day as I was daydreaming about something that I was working on, and I started that company on $50. That's what it cost me to put the first product together, to do the very first prototype. And then from that point on, over the course of the next several years, almost every retail outlet in the country was carrying my products. And so I could have said, well, $50 is, you're never going to be able to start a company that's going to be able to take national and international on $50. But I did. I just knew that this product had merit, and I knew that I could do it. And so I just started. I built one. I built another one. Somebody wanted to buy it. And then within the year, I went to a store up in the northern part of the United States that's very similar to Home Depot. In fact, the people that worked at Home Depot used to work for this company called Menard Cashway Lumber, and they gave me a purchase order for 1,000 units, and that literally springboarded me to selling thousands and hundreds of thousands of those products over the next few years.
Great points so far. I guess that when you're confident, those things will happen. Jake, any questions so far for Darrell?
Well, what would your advice be to people who have confidence issues? I mean, if you could really lay out 3 steps they could take to improve their confidence, what would they be?
Well, I know that what I'm about to say sounds somewhat simplistic, and I've been told many times, well, that just sounds too easy, or, it's just not complicated. People were always asking. I was 24 years old, 26 years old, taking this company national and international, and so I was always asking, what is it that you have that's magic that a 24-year-old little kid is going to be able to design something, and now stores all over the country have this. And I always used to say to them, it isn't magic. But then I realized, okay, I do have the magic, and that magic was that I did the fundamentals. I'm sure, I know I'm a little bit older, but Vince Lombardi, as an example, was, considered to be, a historic coach in the football realm. And he always said, football games are won and lost on the fundamentals, on the basics. So the number one thing that I tell people that they can do in order to change their self-esteem and change their self-confidence is, number one, they have to decide what it is that they want to do. That isn't an overnight process. You have to do a little bit of research, but we know what excites us for the most part. We can sit and think about that and decide what it is that excites us. So number one, you have to decide what it is that you want to do. Number two, you have to really educate yourself. If anybody's got a computer, and I mean in today's world, you can get yourself a Kindle Fire for $199 and go to the local library that has Wi-Fi, and you can type in anything you want, and you can learn as much as you can possibly learn. So that's number two. Learn as much as you want, as you possibly can, about whatever you're excited about. And number three, which is another simple, but sometimes you might feel silly about doing it, I tell people that every day they need to stand in front of a mirror and they need to start telling themselves, I like myself. I like myself. I love my life. I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm healthy. If you repeat those things to yourself as you're staring yourself in the eye, that literally will make a dramatic difference in your self-confidence in 30 days.
See, Darrell, I completely agree in a lot of ways. You look at those three things. If a student would do that, let's say going into high school, a very challenging time in their lives, Darrell, because
right.
A lot of times kids, really their self-esteem is very low in high school. They don't have an identity a lot of times. But to utilize those strategies you just mentioned means that they'll separate themselves from lots of kids that just really aren't confident in life. Would you agree, Darrell?
I absolutely do. And, and going back to that same point that I was just making, if you're struggling with your identity, it's because you're not sure where you're going. It's not sure you're not sure of what it is that you want out of life. And so once you make that decision, that, as an example, when I was very young, I started playing the piano when I was 8 years old. So I started playing the piano at 8 years old. By the time I was 12, I started playing. I just decided I wanted to play the trumpet. So I was able to buy a trumpet and start playing in the band, started taking lessons. I started playing the guitar and the drums at age 13. And so because I decided that was what I wanted, that gave me an identity, and I practiced, hours and hours every day. I mean, I probably practiced at least 3 hours a day, playing the piano, playing guitar, playing the drums, playing the trumpet, and so that really was the key, because I really decided what it was and practiced till I couldn't play anymore. That gave me an identity.
Very good. That's true. And once we feel in our minds that we really don't deserve anything, we're not going to deserve anything. We're going to miss that mark completely. And I think the earlier kids can see this, the earlier they can see that they're worth something, that they can contribute